I love camp. All of it. Camp is just awesome. That's all there is to it.
My favorite part of camp is meeting lots of new people.
The dam.
The dam.
Going swimming.
I love climbing trees, hiking, and doing a lot of activities with a lot of people.
Eating candy from Tuck Shop.
Dancing and looking through the telescope.
One of the things I love about All Tribes is Mama J's cooking, and definitely hash brown casserole. I remember times where Sarah Childs and I just made platefuls of hash brown casserole and just sat there and ate it for hours.
Yep. Crafts. My favorite part is the skits.
Millie's songs on the bus on the way to swimming.
Is when we get to play, dance, and sing.
At All Tribes, things that I love the smell of the propane as I come in at 7 in the morning to start breakfast for the kids. I love everything about the kitchen. Love cooking for the kids. Love coming up for Friday night skits.
What do you love about All Tribes?
Blue Freezies.
My memories of All Tribes Camp are definitely glue and paint and lots of sparkles. But I also have good memories of working in the kitchen with Henry and Janine and eating really well when I met All Tribes, and also great visits with Millie in the cabin.
My favorite camp memory is when Mikey killed the squirrel and he reenacted what happened between him and the squirrel. He showed us that the squirrel went up the tree, then it went back down the tree, then it went up the tree again, and it was giving him the evil eye. And Mikey said he didn't like the evil eye, so he killed the squirrel.
He was giving me his evil eye, just like that. And you guys know how I hate the evil eye.
So, my favorite memory of All Tribes. That's a difficult one because when you live here and you're the director all year round, it's your life, so it's hard to really pick out just one. But I would have to say, I guess one of the biggest memories was the first rock ever, where we had 13 people, and we only had 2 that registered beforehand, and so we didn't even know if it was going to go off. And then, as typical Islanders, they all registered on the last day, and we ended up having 13 people. So that was the start of the rock and eventually the J-Rock. So that's probably my favorite memory.
My favorite memory of All Tribes is watermelon seed fights at VBS. As kids, we would all wait to the end of the week for the watermelon seed fight, and we would all try to get Millie, but you could never hit her, and when she turned around to get you, she would have a mouthful of watermelon seeds, and she would just keep hitting the back of her head and spitting them at you, and we all thought it was amazing that she had such accuracy and speed at this, and you would get pummeled by her, but it was really fun, and that's my favorite memory of All Tribes.
One of my earliest memories of camp would be building a log cabin with my wife here 20-some years ago, early on in our relationship.
My favorite camp memory is when I was playing Fire Wars as a child with my dad. I remember being in my dad's team and throwing water balloons at the other team's campfire, and it was the best.
Mine's probably the food. Janine and Henry, they're just the best cooks in the world, so yeah, that's what I'm going to say is my favorite.
Some of my favorite things about camp. Millie's rules about recycling and leaving the camp better than we found it. I really enjoyed doing all the crafts with the children, especially the paper mache, though we did end up with a whole lot more snakes than I was prepared for, but I think the boys knew I didn't like snakes.
My favorite camp memory is underground church.
My favorite memory from All Tribes as a kid was during VBS. One day of the week we would have a watermelon seed fight. The whole camp would just go wild, eating watermelons, spitting the seeds at people, but Millie would cheat. She would keep seeds in a cup from like the year so that she would just be fully loaded and not have to go eat watermelon.
My favorite memory at All Tribes is the first time Eric and I arrived to lead worship. And neither one of us had ever been to the camp before. And we walked into the lodge, into the kitchen area, dining hall, and everybody just erupted in the cheer. We will cheer for our musicians in this case. And I was kind of blown away, and it was lots of fun, and it was great.
I remember when I was counseling up in the teepees and Sean was staying in our house in bed and he missed breakfast. So everybody showed up in the kitchen and he wasn't there. So I brought all the campers down to our trailer and we pounded on the windows to wake him up and we made him eat grasshoppers because he missed breakfast. Just as a side note, I'd like to apologize to all the campers we forced to eat very disgusting food. We'd basically go in our refrigerator and in a blender, pull out everything in the fridge, anchovies, horseradish, ketchup, mustard, basically anything that was left over, blend it up and have cruel eating games. So if that was one of you, Lindsay Gilbertson, who by the way puked, I'm very sorry.
My favorite memory as a camper would be all of our games that we would play and playing sardines and hiding under these stairs and all cramming in with a counselor.
My most recent memory at All Tribes is being in a relay race and having to drink orange juice. I will never ever forget that moment and the moments thereafter, but that's all you need to know.
My favorite memory was rescuing Millie Troyer from a famous boating accident that happened right there.
We love the pond!
My favorite memory was the first time I think I ever went to All Tribes, as far as I remember. It was on my blind date with Marnie. She showed me around and then we ended up being directors. That's weird, but what a great story.
I'd have to say it's the Millie's cabin, because I was a part of it when the logs were being peeled and the walls were going up. My main memory is we stayed in the little cabin that was here before the cabin was built. And in the mornings when the cabin was being built, Mr. McMaster, he would come along with his chainsaw, and I think it was maybe 7:38 in the morning, and he'd rip that saw under my window to wake me up. He thought that was great fun to pull that on me.
So, I have been teaching here at All Tribes for a number of years since my children are very young, and I started off in the senior kindergartens class, and a number of years later moved up to grade 5, and we were on the porch outside of the main lodge here under a tarp. And a memorable moment is when it rained so hard that our shelter totally caved in on us and we had to move downstairs into the kitchen, which worked out very well.
Singing the Petunia song.
We have been associated with Millie and her camp for many, many years. Every summer when we'd come up on vacation on the P line, one of our stops would be to visit with Millie and tour her camp. She was always proud to show us around the additions she had made over the previous years. I can remember the first year we were here, it was Millie and her cabin, and she had the chuck wagon, and then they would put tents up for the kids at camp time. And then we've watched it progress over the years. On our 15th anniversary, part of our highlight of that day was to walk from Lane's folks' summer cabin on the Hilton Road down to Millie's and back, which is a distance of about 2 miles and back. So.
What's your favorite
Those big pine trees that are all out by the road where they put that new well spout there, we planted those as kids, Millie, way back when. So that's my camp memories there when there was no camp.
Okay, Millie loved tractors, so I'm sitting on a tractor just to show her that I've still got some. Memory of Millie is New Year's Eve. We used to go there with a pile of snow machines, and Millie would get on with somebody and we'd go tour. Back in the 60s, yeah, we come back and have chocolate and goodies at her cabin. Then we go home. Millie's always had me do signs and stuff and clean up the grounds way back in the day. Millie pushed to get stuff done.
My favorite camp memory would be pond swim and the tuck shop. My favorite kind of memory would be everything in this whole entire experience.
Favorite camp memory, I have oodles, but just a few. J-Rock 2009, Redneck Week, so much fun. Hanging out in the tuck shop, selling treats with Mikey and Mars and some other friends. Oh goodness, there's just so many. Chapel time, singing, good food from Henry and Mama J, just love it all. Love camp, love the Lord, love serving him there.
One of my fondest memories, I guess, is of Dick. Back in the late 80s, 88, 89, I just started working for Gilbertsons, and Dick came over in the fall of the year with the old Wildcat. The blade wouldn't go up and down. So he asked me to have a look at it, and I said, well, 9 times out of 10 the control's frozen, Dick, and you just got to take it in, warm it up. I was pretty busy, but I pulled the cover off, and sure enough, it's full of ice. So I sent him back over here to the camp to put it inside the garage here and warm it up. And about the amount of time it took him to drive to the camp and back to Gilbertson's shop, he was back in shuffling around saying, well, Millie sent me right back to get you to fix it. So I guess this camp wouldn't be what it is without Millie's ability to motivate people and get things done.
My favorite memory of All Tribes Camp is Millie Troyer. Growing up, I always went to Millie's camp as opposed to All Tribes Camp. The amount of work and effort that Millie put towards the camp is a great testament to her life. I look forward to spending many more years at All Tribes. Thank you, Millie.
Hey, I love All Tribes Camp. It's been a very special part of my life, and I'm so thankful to have been here as a camper and to have been blessed to work here, and I'm so excited to many more wonderful memories. I've seen God use this place, and I can't wait to see what He's going to do.
Camp means to me is when I drop my children off and they have big smiles on their face, and when I pick them up in the afternoon, they have a long list of wonderful things they've done all day. What makes my kids happy makes me happy.
Well, it's a fulfillment of a dream that went beyond my wildest expectations. There's no doubt about that. It began as just a simple getaway place, but has become something that's I can't describe, and it's only those who come and experience it can really tell you what this is all about.